Hello. There we go. So, yeah, I fucked that all up. Okay, so, yay. This is a stream. A little update. And if you've been following my story, all three of you, I had an interview for a job. It was the most awkward interview I've ever had in my life. Not like any interview I've ever had before. Apparently, it is standard practice for this uh, this is the standard way they interview, and I wasn't prepared for it. But it doesn't matter anyway because I realized the questions they were asking were more geared towards what do you call it? News gathering, journalism, majors, things like that. It was more or less a job for journalism majors, people who go on news broadcasts and do shit like that. So, not something I was interested in, not really. So, after 3 weeks of waiting, I found out that nope, they're passing on me, which is good. I mean, sure, it sucks in the sense that, now I have to still worry about my future. It's good because I didn't want to work for the state. And the reason for that is because working for the state in this capacity is the ultimate fucking sellout move. It is. I guess I should say that as much as I hate the title, I am an artist at heart. I always have been. I hate art. I hate artists. I despise the whole genre and medium, whatever you call it. And I don't see any value in it. And like the title says, art is not a trade. What I mean by that is there's too many people who try to profit off the dreams of people, such as myself, who try to convince you that you can have a career in this. You can be a person who can have a job in this sort of realm doing art if you just apply yourself and learn these tricks of the trade and this and that and blah 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 blah, and you will find your way through, and you will be a one of those people who make a career of what they do. No. What you will do is sell yourself out. Assuming you get a job, assuming you actually find a fucking job, the job will be you always selling out, always doing other people's work, making other people's visions come to fruition, and basically prostituting yourself out and whatever ability and skill you have for the lowest bidder. So people who aren't interested in anything you do, don't really value anything you do, and ultimately just want to use you to their own ends. And that's the service you provide. If you go into anything with any sort of vision of what you want to be and what you want things to be, you're in the wrong field, the wrong career path. You will be ousted very, very rapidly. You have to conform to it, just like any job. You have to conform yourself to it. And there's nothing worse in this world than compromising your artistic integrity and artistic value for a fucking paycheck. Believe that. That said, I didn't get the job. I don't care. I didn't want to work for the state. I hate the fucking state. I'm just going to say it. I don't like this state. If I could get out of this state now, I would. But I've been here most of my life. At this point, it's almost moot. And there's just so many. It's funny because I killed artistic me a long time ago. Pure artistic me died in the year 1999. And ever since then, I've just been sort of hanging on to it, here and there, clawing my way to try to stay with it. But it doesn't ever, I don't ever get to be truly free, be a truly free artist. And I also live in probably one of the worst fucking areas you could live, to do this sort of stuff. Hold on, I'm trying to find the right balance. There we go. I have a song that I wrote, 1999 of all times. There was a band I was in called Four Pointed Sisters, and the name of the song was Ode to the Midwest. And it was literally just how I felt about the Midwest, my hatred of the Midwest and everyone who in the Midwest, and how it was culturally devoid of any significance, importance. Anyone you run into is just a phantom of who you want to associate with if you have any sort of artistic merit or aspirations. It's the worst possible place to come up in the world if that is your goal and that's your vision and dream. And it's just as true today as it has ever been. Now, the interesting thing to me is that I found a way to get a job doing commercial production. I've enjoyed my job for what it's worth. I mean, like I said, I abandoned my true, pure artistic version of me back in 99. So everything else has been a pale comparison, pale parody, really, of what I used to be. And ultimately, in that time, I've learned to bend the knee, so to speak. And it hasn't been all terrible. Like, I guess I could say I could have been working terrible jobs. You have to understand, I was in a band for most of my life. And most of the people that I met and most of the people who I associated with, worked with, played shows with, was in bands with, Nowadays, they're not doing much of anything. They work at factories. They work at odd jobs. They work at different. They never really did anything beyond that because they never really had anything else. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I'm not trying to say that I'm some great person who, I got ahead of the curve, man. I did so much better and blah, 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 blah. Because, hold on. Boop. Jesus Christ. That was a lot. 1 second. There. How's that? I'm trying to get the volume about right. And I think I'm trying to get it somewhere in the line. I think that'll work. Basically, I'm not saying that I'm any better than anyone that I was, played shows with, palled around with, all that. We're all in the same boat. I just happened to get lucky, it was all that really mattered. I got lucky. Because if I didn't get the opportunities that were given to me, then I would have been in the same situation they were, So I'm happy for that. I was happy for the job that I've had for 2 decades. It's going away, and it is what it is. The only real value I think I can take out of all of this is that if I want to move on and pursue art, I might be able to refine my art and the artistic me that I am, and bring that back out. I've written a script. Well, I co-wrote a script, I should say. It was a script for a movie that I was working on last year called June, written by Kevin Miller. We tried to make it work. It didn't get very far. We hit a real huge obstacle, and the whole thing kind of fell apart from there. I was pushing it hardcore. I had a timeline that was very accelerated. I wanted to get a lot of stuff done, and it just didn't pan out. So I kind of put it on the back burner. Kevin said he was going to go back to the drawing board and write something, come back. He didn't. But I thought I decided I liked that story. I liked the environment of the story. I liked the idea of the story so much that I wanted to continue to work with it, but I just didn't like I didn't like the way it was laid out. I sort of kind of took the idea and morphed it into this other idea and changed it to focus more on other people as opposed to certain others. And I wanted it to follow more of a traditional movie form. And I feel like the script that I've written does that. I think it basically hits all the beats that it needs to hit. It tells the story in almost, I mean, I would say that Kevin's story was very much non-traditional storytelling, especially for a movie type, which really at the beginning interested me because I was like, well, this could be something quite, different than what most people do. And let's see how far we can get with it. But I don't know. As I thought about it, a lot of it was formulaic. There is a lot of formula to it. His style was very much present, and his style is very much Kevin's style is fuck my hometown. I hate my hometown. I hate everyone in my hometown. Every story he wrote was like, I want to burn my fucking hometown to the ground. He harbors a lot of bitterness still to this day, which is his inspiration. He has another story called Night of the Kick Fighters that I really, really wanted to do, but it's just over the top with the amount of stuff that you would have to have. It was like an 80s throwback action movie style thing. So it was like, it was very, very, very awesome. It was a very awesome idea, and it all hinged around destroying our hometown. And, cause we're both from the same town. But we went to high school together. That's how I knew him. But it just called for too much. And I was like, dude, there's no fucking way we can do this. We have a budget of like, a McDonald's value meal. Like, we're not going to be able to pull off half the shit that you want to do. So I was like, come up with something else. He had another story. It was called Sleeping Dogs Lie or something like that. And then he rewrote it as a screenplay that he called June and presented that. And I really liked the concept. I thought, but the more we got into it, the more, and he started to rework it himself. He started to change it and morph it into something that was just a little too on the nose. And I was like, dude, I like it better when it's more low key and laid back, and I like simple things. I'm a very simple person. I like very simple things. And one of the things that he was pushing into was a lot of paranoid delusion, hallucinations, schizophrenia, things, elements of that. And I was just like, I don't know. I feel like it's too much of a hammer over the head to the audience, nailing the point home. But after enough time away from the project and thinking more about it, I came up with another way to tell the story, a similar story, but not the same story, a very similar story. It started from the same groundwork, but it's developed into a much more plain, and I wouldn't say boring, but I would definitely say a much more believable story, much more realistic, set within the boundaries of an actual world and not something where you have to leap out of logic and sense of reason to connect the dots and put things together. And that was one of the things one of the major problems I had with this story was that you really had to suspend disbelief in a lot of areas because he was asking you to forget certain things and in order to make connections here and there. And it just, And I can't do that. Personally, I can't do that. I see a roadblock when I see something in a story that's like, these people do this, and nobody calls. I mean, it's something illegal, like a murder or something like that, and then like nobody calls them out. Nobody, they don't end up investigated or on trial or charged with anything. I'm like, man, I don't know. That's good. You're going real far with that, real fucking far. And that's where we sort of started to butt heads a little bit, because I was injecting apparently a little too much reality into the Fantasyland story. So I rewrote it. I made it conform more to reality. I toned it down considerably. Not the stuff that we were having the most issue with, as far as like pulling off. But the elements of like the I guess you could say the protagonist of the story was supposed to be a serial killer. And I tried my best to keep that angle going when I was rewriting it, but I'm like, I just want to move away from this. It's just another added element that I don't think enhances the story at all. I feel like there is a core story here that carries forward and you can really play around with it. It's just a simple idea that you're developing into a much more convoluted sort of mystery. And I don't think it needs to be any more complex than that. I think it just all needs to hinge around this unsolved murder. And trying to throw in all these other elements of him being a serial killer, it's too many different things that you have to keep track of and work into the story. And I got fed up with it when I was rewriting it. So the new version of June all pretty much hinges around that murder. Why did I start talking about fucking June? I don't know. I'm all over the place. My ADD is crazy. Just fucking. I have this feeling like my body was storing like years and years, decades, if you will, decades of alcohol and nicotine in my fat stores in my system, and just keeping it in there. And that was somehow suppressing my attention deficit disorder. And now, after a decade of being off of all of that, I really, really feel like I am just back to like childhood levels of ADD. I can't fucking, I'm just all over the place. Hello, Red Feather. How are you doing? And it's hard for me to focus. It's hard for me to stay, in the moment without drifting here and there. And, I'm doing the best I can though. So what the hell was I talking about? Art is not a trade. I got on this topic because a friend of mine is posted on Facebook that he and another one of his friends were doing this writer's seminar. And I was just like, why? Like, this is one of those things that bothers me the most about failed people who fail, people who try and try to do something, become something, and fail at it. And their next logical step is to either teach, instruct, do seminars, sell books on how to do the thing that they failed at. That seems like the natural course of action for all of these people. It's a grift, and I hate it. I hate seeing it. And the fact that this guy's doing it's like, why? Why are you doing this? What sort of... For one thing, you're not the kind of person who should be given advice. Two, what are you trying to convince these fucking people to do? To get into an oversaturated marketplace of dreamers who will never amount to shit? I mean, is that what we need in this country right now? Is a bunch of dreamers dreaming all the time? I think that was the overarching problem that led us into this new millennium of hell, is we have too many fucking dreamers. We have too many people who are sold this concept that, oh, you can make your dreams come to, become a reality and blah, blah, blah. No, you can't. No, you fucking can't. It's never been true. Boo. I'm all right, having lots of vehicle issues, but otherwise fine. How are you doing today? Doing all right. Isn't that the saying? Those who can't do cheats. Yep. I'm doing okay. I'm still losing my job, as far as I know. I have till June 30th, and then we'll see from there. I mean, I'm doing a whole hell of a lot to try to keep my job, but whether or not that pays off, who knows? I had my interview with the state 3 weeks ago, and they just sent me an email this week passing on me because they're looking for a journalist, like a communications major journalist type news journalist person with that sort of experience, and I don't have any of that experience. So it was right for them to pass on me because I would have been in over my head doing that. I mean, I have 20 years of commercial production experience, but I have no experience doing that shit. Could I have learned it and done it? Sure. But there's also the added element that I don't want to work for the state. I don't want to go around. I hate my governor. I hate the governor of this fucking state. The idea that I was going to have to go and shoot press conferences for this fat fuck boiled my blood. I was like, oh God, please don't. I don't want to have to fucking do this. So I'm glad I didn't get it because I am so anti this state that for me to be in that role would be like the ultimate sellout move. So yeah, I'm going on vacation next week. My wife and I are going out to the Appalachian Trail. We're going to skip the Smokies and go north to Davenport Gap, and then we're going to hike north to Hot Springs, North Carolina. That's going to be a little bit of a break away from everything that we've been doing. She took a job. She went to a place that makes donuts. It's a factory, a donut factory, and she was working on the line there for like 8 months, and then she got offered a supervisor job, and she applied for it, interviewed for it, got it. And now she's a supervisor, making more money than me. So, congratulations, Soraya. She's doing good. She's not happy about it because now she's in charge of every fuckhead that she used to work with, and so. But she'll get over it because they'll all lose their job or they'll move on and do other things, and then she'll have a whole new crew of people coming in that she doesn't have any attachment to, and she'll fit right in. She's that type of person who is kind of bossy. She'll do fine. Speaking of shitty governors, did you hear Gavin Newsom started a podcast? Yeah. I know the really infamous one where he had Charlie Kirk. Was it Charlie Kirk? I think Charlie Kirk is what he had on, and he just looked like a fucking idiot the whole way through. The way it looked to me is that he represents everything I hate about the Democrat Party, where it's like all his questions were like, yeah, we're trying to change our image. We're trying to do stuff and get with the times and be more, kind of come across differently and really appeal to this new younger generation, this new I'm like, so basically what you're saying is you don't give two fucks about policy. You only care about image. Yep, that pretty much sums up the Democratic Party. And that's why I haven't been a fan of the Democrats for a long time. Even though I'm a liberal, I can't stand the Democrats because they're all show and no filler. They're not thinking at all about policies that affect people. And they're allowing the crazies to fucking run the asylum. And it's doing nothing but destroying everything. All for a win. All so they can just say, we're on top. And in a lot of cases, what I've learned, and especially in these past few months, is that it's amazing how far you can go on autopilot. When you have a whole system that's built upon everyone just following lockstep to the last marching orders of the last person who was then in turn following the orders of the last person and the last person and the last person, and it just keeps going cycle after cycle. Everyone loses the plot eventually, and no one can remember why they started doing anything that they ended up doing. And we all end up looking around like, well, okay, now what do we do? Nobody knows. Nobody knows what to do because we were all just doing what we were, the last thing we were doing. We were just following what the last person was doing. It's like, so where are we now? Oh, we're fucked. Great. How do we get out of it? I don't know. I don't know how we got this fucked. It's amazing. A lot of people shit on Trump. And Trump's a weirdo. He's a narcissistic weirdo, but he's doing something that he knew had to be done. He knew it had to be done. That if this country is going to go right in the crapper if we don't start taking things back and start isolating a little bit, bringing production back, and start getting more control of our dollar and our exports, our imports, and our own economy, instead of just attaching ourselves to the global economy and making it to where we are just in the commodities trade, and we don't really have any actual interest in promoting. I mean, because you could take it so many different ways, but it all leads to socialism, which in turn leads to communism. That's the natural course of things when you start following things down that path. We all end up working for the state at that point. And it's kind of hard to petition for a raise from the people with guns. I also heard AOC is going to be the presidential candidate for 2028. That ought to be entertaining. Well, that's a very foolish thing. If they want to throw the 2028 elections, by all means, go ahead. Trump is sloppy, but at least he's actually trying to do something instead of just giving lip service. Yeah, I mean, there's so much waste in government, and it's been known for a long time. That's what everyone's seeing now is what I was just describing, how everyone has been, whether they realize it or not, they've been conditioned to hate Republicans. It's all media that you've ever absorbed has always portrayed, from the day you were born, has portrayed Republicans as the enemy, as the evil, big baddies, evil people, all throughout your entire life. That shit seeps in. It just gets infused into your subconscious, and it's like you don't even think about it until you really wake up and you start thinking, oh my God, they've been doing this for generations now. And it's crazy because it's like, okay, why is it that way? Why is it only one party bears the brunt of all of this? And I guarantee you no one actually knows why, other than that's just what they know. And the only reason they know it is the indoctrination of liberal media. That's it. That's all. That's really all it is. So you have to step out. I mean, that's a long time coming. You got to step away from that. You got to reprogram your brain. And it's hard. It's very hard. A lot of people can't do it. And that's why they're rallying and going out and marching on shit that they don't even fucking know what they're marching for or what they're standing up for. You know, they feel it's right in their heart. And I knew this was all going to come eventually because of COVID. Our response to COVID was so dastardly and terrible. I was like, this is terrifying on so many levels. I'm shocked that people are just so blind to this, that they're looking around and they do not see they don't see what's going on, you know. I was like amazed. I was like, it's amazing how quick America fell into fascism. Just like that. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? This isn't fascism. This is the new normal. We've got to save ourselves from this killer disease. Do you understand? You're part of the problem if you do not get on board with what the government is selling. So you should be imprisoned and you should lose your job because you're threatening my life by not taking this fear seriously enough. And I was like, am I in a fucking nightmare here? Did I like wake up in an alternate universe where everyone just fucking went crazy? Because that's what it felt like. But you know what was even crazier? What followed. What followed was even more crazy. How everyone just swept that shit under the rug. Everyone just like, what are you talking about? COVID? Yeah, that was crazy times, man. Crazy times. Oh, yeah. Well, you remember that? Oh, man. And they want to absolutely forget everything they did to their neighbors, to their coworkers, to everyone they ever met who didn't toe the line and didn't fucking follow the fear chart. And they just want to let it go because they don't want you bringing it back up because they know they were wrong. And it's an embarrassment. They carry that shame with them deep down inside, and they don't want to have to address it. They don't want to have to be called to the fucking mat and made to answer for the horrible shit that they did. And they're praying it just gets forgotten. But I don't know anyone who was subjected to that shit who will ever fucking forget. No one's going to forget. Because that was a fucking super dark time for the United States. Super fucking dark. It may have been that way for the rest of the world too. But for the United States, I've never seen in my entire life, I've never seen anything that dastardly and dark. Kind of sucks because the mainstream media sources are very biased on both sides. There needs to be more down in the middle reporting. Well, I mean, that's what brings in the views. I mean, what are you going to do? Fuck reporting. Fuck media. You got to make money. That's the bullshit of it. Yeah, COVID was a scary time. Not the disease, but the reaction for sure. Now they all been admitted they were full of shit about the protocols put in place. Well, yeah, because all it was fear. That's all it ever was. It was just a whole lot of fear. And the shit that they were pushing through based on that fear was the dark shit. And everyone just went along with it. It's like, we don't know what to do, so trust. When you hear the words, trust this, trust that, during a time when no one knows what the fuck is going on, even the scientists, even the virologists and the scientists and doctors all said this is a new strain of an old, virus, and we don't know what it's going to do. Yet the government was so fucking insistent that we know exactly what we're going to do. We know exactly what we need to do to prepare for this, and we know exactly what protocols to follow. How can you possibly know that when no one knows how this virus is going to, what path it's going to follow, what it's going to do, what the death toll is going to be, anything? 3% mortality rate. Fuck off with that. It wasn't even close to that. It wasn't even close to 1%. And they had the whole goddamn world scared to death over that 3% number. Never fucking happened. Now you hear people go, yeah, but a lot of people died. Has anybody ever looked at flu fatality rates? Like mortality from flu, the common flu annually? This is when you know you're talking to people who literally have no fucking clue what they're talking about. And just they became scholars overnight because the news fed them some information. Now they fucking know. No, it's when you're talking about populations in the hundreds of millions and billions, lots of fucking people die, and it's a fraction of a percent of that total. So nobody really thinks about it. And it happens over the span of an entire year. So you don't think about it. Just like when people make cases against gun violence. Oh, we got to get rid of guns because gun violence. You take away suicide. You have an infinitesimally small fraction of number of actual violent crimes committed with handguns, rifles, whatever. Handguns mostly. Rifles, even smaller. Yet, these fucking cunts in government are doing everything they can to strip guns out of everyone's hands because of this tiny little number. It's the fear mongering that they just do to get their way. Think about cigarettes. Think about that. We're in a culture now. We are living in a time where a fucking political party destroyed an industry in our country. Literally destroyed it. For what purpose? We got to help protect the future. We got to protect the future. Lung cancer's killing people, blah, 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 blah. I still can't wait. But, before all is said and done, by the time I'm fucking about to rattle my old bones off this fucking planet, I'm going to do a little research. I'm going to find out how much lung cancer has decreased in the time since the Democrats decided that we have to fully focus on getting rid of cigarettes and before I leave. I'll bet you $1,000 fucking dollars. It'll be inconsequential. The numbers will be non-affected. Why? Because cancer is not something that we understand. It has never been something we understand. It is a mutation within our own genetics. People say carcinogen this, carcinogen that. It's like saying Johnny stood next to a fucking power line for 3 hours yesterday, and now he woke up with a headache today. Oh, he must have got it from the power line he stood next to for 3 hours. Really? Well, yeah, because every other day he didn't have the headache. It was only after the day that he stood next to that power line for 3 hours. That's when he had the headache. So that was obviously causing it. That's what they have. Oh, and they test it in lab rats. I mean, when you really start to break everything down, you start to understand the core fundamentals of everything in our world. It's people trying to hold on to their own jobs. That's all it is. Somebody got a job once. They're like, cool, I get paid to do this. Cool. It's exactly what I wanted. I'm going to do research. I'm going to do this. And then it's like, okay, well, what are you going to do research on? I don't know. This, that. Okay, well, we're going to have you do a study on this and put together your information. Cool. And that's what somebody commits themselves to doing. And that's their livelihood. That's their job. That's what their role and responsibility is. They don't want that shit going away. They don't want to solve anything. They don't want to answer anything. They just want to do their studies. They want to have a job. This is the problem with attaching any sort of like anything that's detrimental to humanity, like healthcare, health, services, sciences, things like that. That's tying that to the dollar essentially breaks the whole fucking thing down. It turns it into a commodity, and it turns it into something where people will intentionally fuck the numbers up, skew the numbers, skew the data, perpetually fucking lengthen the amount of time it takes to do shit, and just because it's human nature. Nobody wants to work themselves out of a fucking job. So it's perpetuating one's own existence in life. That's what it is. And that's how we end up in the situation that we're in all the time, in any case. That's the way that's why the government ends up in the situation it's in. That's why you end up with massive amounts of overspending and programs that just throw money around because you've got all this money and you spend it, and then you need more money and you hire. Like, I've always been critical of government agencies and programs that get set up and they hire like a few people. We're going to look into this and we're going to start this and blah, blah, blah. And then 10 to 15 years later, they have quadrupled the amount of people that they employed. Why? Well, we expanded our reach and excuse. The point is, the people who got in said, wouldn't it be great if more people got on and worked for the state? Oh, and make excuses, increase the budget. Oh, we can hire more people now. We'll bring on more jobs. We can do all this, blah, blah, blah. Never thinking about the toll it takes on the American taxpayer. When they put all this stuff out, put it together. They never think about that. It's just free money. But now I can get all my friends employed. I can get everyone I know employed at this fucking organization I work with because the money just flows right in. And when you ask for more money, they give you more money because it's helping in some ethereal fucking way. They conflated who died with COVID as opposed to because of COVID. Yeah, that was another one. I mean, all part of the fucking hysteria. When they touted vapes and now they're saying vapes are dangerous. Yeah, this is the one thing that I've been saying for a long time. Breathing outside may cause cancer. Well, they say that fucking just being outside, being anywhere, you're subjected to radiation anytime you go anywhere. I mean, what do you think RF signals are? I mean, the sun is radioactive. The sun is beaming radiation into our fucking planet on the daily. On the daily. Radiation is energy that penetrates your body. Now, it happens in different wavelengths, and there's different, like if you think about radioisotopes and you think about their the damage they can do to the cellular structure of humans, our bodies are designed, the skin that we have is designed to block out a lot of that radiation from penetrating into our vital organs and our internal systems, where that sort of stuff can corrupt and mutate and cause cancer. It's when it gets inside and through. And that's why everyone's like, carcinogens, smoking, you're putting it right into your lungs. There's no protection in your lungs from what's. And in a lot of cases, it's hard to say. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say I doubt the science. All the people who've done studies and this and that, like, but I do not believe that there is 100% any time in any sort of case that there's 100% certainty and guarantee. And not to mention, we live in a free society. That's what we're always told. And yeah, cigarettes are not particularly, I mean, you can make all the fucking case in the world about how dangerous cigarettes are to people. Absolutely. I mean, take away cancer and just make emphysema your number one fucking case and cause. Say smoking causes emphysema. And emphysema is a fucking horrible thing. But will that stop people from smoking? Fuck no. Here's one of the things I was thinking about today. Our society is we're ready to literally torch the whole fucking country. We're ready to string people up in the fucking streets. We're just so fucking enraged. I can't take it. I can't fucking stand the way things are, and things have to change, and we got to take action. Remember when people smoked all the time? Remember when people used to go to bars and smoke and drink at their leisure? Was there rioting in the streets? Was there protests every fucking weekend? No, there wasn't. Why? Because people had something to get rid of their stress. It may have been just that fucking cigarette. It may have been a drink they had. It may have been something. Just the ability to go out in public, smoke and drink, hang out with people, and just enjoy themselves and just relax. Come home from their shitty job, crack open a beer, have a cigarette, and process. But we don't have that anymore. I mean, I guess technically we do. If you want to pay $10 a fucking pack for a cigarette, and you want to go to a bar and not smoke but drink, and you want to go to a bar and listen to the worst music, well, assuming there's even music there, because the fucking music industry has clamped down so tight on fucking ASCAP and BMI. At least a decade, if not 15 years ago, clamped down so hard on bars and restaurants and things for playing music that it's almost impossible to do it without having to pay some sort of exorbitant fee. And that's even have cover bands do it. It's fucking incredible what they did. So it's like you've stripped away all joy and entertainment and release of people. And now you're saying, well, just live, just accept what you can, be a better person. Like, not everybody has the opportunity to be a better person. No, not everybody has the ability to live this posh and fantastic life. Some people have to work in the fucking coal mines. Some people have to dig ditches. Some people have to fucking, work a goddamn factory job. Lots of people have to do that. But America forgot all about them. Just totally fucking forgot. And their kids, wastes, worthless, absolutely fucking. They grew up with these fictitious phantom silver spoons in their mouths, like they were entitled and privileged to get everything that the world had coming to them, and they didn't have to put in a fucking single honest day's work to get it. That it was all just coming to them. And it's like, where did you get this idea? Who fucking told you that that's the way the world works? Why didn't your parents prepare you for the future that was coming to you? That's one of those things where it's like, what the fuck happened to this generation of these Gen Z people who just are so fucking entitled? I'll never, ever understand it. They used to say cigarettes were good for you. Yeah. On a societal level, I believe it. I honestly do. I'll still stand by it. And I will say this. If If anything ever happened where regulations were cut back, restrictions were cut back, and cigarette prices dropped back to like 1990s fucking prices, like $2 a pack, I'd start smoking again. My stress levels are fucking through. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've lost quite a bit of weight in the past 4 months. I have not been a happy camper. My appetite has fallen to shit. I eat almost nothing. I sleep only a few hours a night. I am a fucking wreck. I mean, no pun intended. And I would love to be able to go back to smoking just to fucking decompress from that. I can't go back to drinking. I will give you that. I can't go back to drinking. I take that shit too far. But smoking, fuck. Yeah, I would do that. But I can't. Not with $10 a pack. No fucking way. They still play music and allow smoking in certain establishments around here. Certain states, yeah. I mean, I live in Nazi Germany, so you can't do anything here. But ultimately, yeah, I miss those. I do kind of miss those days. I don't miss waking up after a night of fucking hardcore smoking and like my lungs feeling like I ran a goddamn scouring brush through them, coughing up black, nasty shit. But the feeling you got, that helped. And if I end up losing my job and having to go to the places that I'm probably going to end up having to go to, I'm going to be craving those fucking cigarettes at that point. But I don't know. There's also the aspect of it of like, I don't know. Life is an interesting mishmash of different things. And I've grown up. I mean, when I started this job, I was 28, So I'm a much different person now by comparison to where I was before I started. So if I have to go to like a warehouse and pick orders and shit and send all this stuff out and whatever, like where all my friends work, I may be just fine with it, because I look at it like this. I've had a lot of stress. I've dealt with a lot of stress at my job. And a job like that, working in a warehouse, that is no stress environment. That is easy peasy. I mean, you just do the work. You don't have to, you're not responsible for anything. So you just fucking go. Like the weight of so much on this company revolves around me, like relies on me and my ability to get things done. And I've been feeling that this past couple of weeks. It's been tremendous. I'm finally coming to the end of that, to the tail end of that. I found literally, you have to understand, I could try to explain this, but it'd take too long. But the Cliff's Notes version of it is, we've had a whole system set up that has been fucked up for over 2 fucking years. And I'm just now realizing how fucked up it was. And I had to fix it. Only me, had to figure out what the problem was, figure out a solution for it, and then implement the fucking solution. And I had to work with other companies who didn't want to work with us and pull all these resources together, get them to start talking to me, talking to one another. And I'm coordinating all this shit, doing all this legwork on my own, doing analysis, research, testing, monitoring, all this stuff I've never had to do before. All for what? Because I don't think it's going to save my job. It's not making us extra money. So I don't know. But it was a task that was put forward to me and I grabbed it up. But I'm coming to the end of it now, so that's at least good. Still in Florida, no offense, but I would never live in Illinois. I don't blame you. I was actually thinking about getting Soraya and I to move back to Florida. I really miss Florida. I don't know why. I just miss it. I kind of want to move to Pensacola. Couldn't tell you why. I can tell you've lost weight. Good for you. Yeah, I've lost like 40 pounds. And that's not a fucking lie. When I started, when I was recording the audio stuff, the Oh, what is it? When I was recording the audio, I lost my job, or I'm losing my job and stuff. I weighed 326, I believe. And I'm down to 288, so almost 40 pounds. And it just keeps going down. I mean, there's not really anything I'm doing. I just haven't been eating. I ate 3 hot dogs today. And that's all I'm going to eat for the whole entire fucking day, or 3 hot dogs. That's all I can fit. I ate them and I'm still full. And that was like 4 hours ago. I went through the whole first half of the day eating nothing, because I usually don't eat until 5 or 6 at night. And then I eat, and it's only like probably 700 calories, 5 to 700 calories worth of food. And then I go to bed. My life is becoming this weird, like, cycle of, I get up in the morning. Oh, the hot dog thing, let me explain that first. I'm eating hot dogs because I'm about to go out on the AT, and I need to start eating protein. I need to start getting protein in my system, because last weekend, because I haven't been eating. You know what I was eating before I started eating hot dogs and shit like that? Crackers. A package of crackers. 1 package of crackers for an entire day. Just saltine crackers. You know how fucking dumb that is? A bowl of, like, some days I eat a bowl of potatoes, fake potatoes. Some days, a package of crackers. Or these little DiGiorno pizzas. Like these, like, almost like personal pan sized pizzas. I'd eat one of those. But last weekend, Sarai and I went out for a walk. Actually, 2 weekends ago, we went on a hike, and we had our full packs on, and we were just doing kind of we were doing a shakedown for our upcoming trip. And I got to a point, and it was a 4-mile hike. It was nothing. But by the end, I was like stumbling. I felt like I was going to faint. I was like, this is fucking crazy. Like, I'm running out of energy to the point where I almost like have to sit down, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to walk. And then last weekend we were out just walking our dogs, and I started to feel it again. I'm like, I'm getting really fucking weak. It's like I'm feeling like I'm going to pass out. And I think my blood sugar has just been really fucking low, because I've almost completely quit. I don't eat sugar, like, at all. I mean, sugar itself, no. If I get sugar through food and I get sugar through carbohydrates, that's the only sugar I'm getting. I eat no candy. I eat no fucking, no bread, no starch, no fucking anything. I mean, I got rid of the starch when I stopped eating potatoes like fucking a month ago. I eat so little sugar, it's insane. Sounds like low bread, and it probably is. So lack of protein, lack of fucking sugar, low blood sugar. I got to make sure I maintain that shit, because I don't want to be out on the AT and fucking feeling the way I did, here, because I won't even be able to climb those fucking mountains. Oh, dude, get some chicken and grill it. Well, the thing about chicken is I ate so much chicken over the years that I almost can't stomach it anymore. There's just something about it. It just tastes rubbery and disgusting to me. And it could be the quality of the chicken I'm getting from stores. I don't know, but it just tastes like shit. And I can't do it. What was I saying before I cut myself off to go on that fucking tangent? I don't remember. The cycles of my life. I'm going into work 2 hours early every day because I've got nothing better to do. I'm supposed to go in at 8. I go in at 6. I work till 2 or 3. Come home, take my dogs out in the country and walk them. And then come home, eat, watch YouTube. And then Soraya gets home at about 8:39. And we talk for a little bit. And then I go to bed about 10. Cycle repeat. Over and over and over. Every fucking day. Same cycle. Over and over. It's crazy. I honestly feel like this is my life now, you know, and that's early on. Like when I started the whole audio thing, the losing my job thing, I was in a really deep, dark fucking place. Hello, the BTK. How's it going? I was in a very, 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 very dark place. The cycle of my life was like fucking pathetic. And I think it was the closest I really came to the concept of like just being done, the finality of everything. Like if this is what my life is, then I don't need to continue with it because I'm experiencing the rest of my life right now. And I have to say I'm not very impressed. What doggos do you have now? Oh, the same ones. Luther and Jesse, the two Australian shepherds. I think I've talked about them before. If you are interested in seeing them, I would suggest looking up the Big Fat Hike on YouTube, and you will see me and my wife and our dogs going out on hikes. They're adorable. I love them. Our female Aussie named Jessie has separation anxiety, really fucking bad, and has she just goes nuts whenever I leave in the morning. She'll wake Soraya up and just start to get frantic and panting, and then she'll have to take her out because she knows that we're eventually both going to leave, and then she'll be at home alone. And she hates it. When I come home, she fucking can't control herself. She's like whining and crying and rubbing her body all over my legs. And I feel so terrible, but there's not really, I mean, because you have to understand during the whole COVID period, I was doing a lot of working from home. So they got really used to me being there every day. So now that I'm going back to the office, they're not handling it. They're not handling it at all. She'll sometimes, almost like she's just laying there, and then she'll just get up and start freaking the fuck out and shaking, and then she'll climb on me and like try to lay on me, but she can't control herself. She's so manic, and I don't know what it is, but I get all freaked out. I'm like, okay, so I'll take her out because I think maybe she has to go to the bathroom, and then we'll be outside, and then she'll be calm, and she'll just lay down, look at me, and then we'll like, okay, well, we'll go back in, and then it's right back to it. I'm like, what is this? What is going on with her? But I don't know, that's just a new thing. It's weird. She hasn't really done that very much. I think they make CBD for dogs nowadays. We don't do CBD for the dogs. I have a pill that I got from a vet, Tramadol, I think it's called. I give that to the male Aussie every fucking night, because if I didn't, he would be up all night barking at anything he fucking hears. The only way I get to sleep is by doping my fucking dog. And it sucks, but because it costs me like, well, I can get through 3 months, but it's like $95 for a bottle of fucking Tramadol. And it's worth it, because if I don't give it to him, then he is just all fucking night. Some dogs are just nervous. You'd have to see it. You'd have to see what she does. It's disturbing to me to watch her go through this cycle. It's not something that we've had her for a couple of years, and it's not something that we've seen in her before, just recently. So I don't know. I think it's the separation anxiety getting worse, but I don't know for sure. I took them out today, and fucking Luther, our male Aussie, rubbed himself in horse shit. So I had to bring him home, throw him in the shower, and spray all that shit and wash him down. Then he avoided me for the rest of the night. Those fucking dogs. I love them. I love them to death. They make me happy for sure. I mean, especially in these past couple of months, I'm so grateful to have them, because I can come home and just look at their face and just be happy. They make me happy. Is she adopted, or did you get her as a pup? No, we adopted both of them. We got them back when I worked when it was I was volunteering at Paws, the local shelter here. Before I started, I was doing a commercial for the place, and she was there. She had just come in. They had rescued her from this big breeder situation. They pulled about fucking 70 dogs out of this place. She was one of them, and she came in pregnant, and she had her litter of pups there, and I got all of them in the commercial. They were just adorable little Aussie pups, and she was not happy. She was not happy with me. She was barking aggressively at me the whole time I had the camera there. And shortly after that is when I started volunteering there, because I just felt like I really like this organization. I want to help them out. So I started doing that, and then I roped Soraya into it. And one of the first nights we were there was it was after all of Jesse's pups got adopted out. They brought her into kennel after being in quarantine for a while, because they always have the new dogs in quarantine for like several weeks, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks. Then they move them into the general kennel, and she came in, and Soraya immediately fell in love with her. Immediately fell in love with her. She was just watching her all night while we were working. She said she just scratched the floor and then did a little circle and laid down, and I felt, and she's like, I knew at that moment that we had to take her home. And boy, did we. And ever since then, it was like she had never been inside before. She was always in a kennel. Ever since she was born, she was in a kennel, and all she did was breed and birth out litters of pups, and never was indoors. She has a terrible fear of the rain. And whenever it rains, or you can tell like it's moist out and there's rain, or it's been raining, she will not go. She may go outside, but she will not touch grass. Her feet will never touch grass when it's wet. Craziest fucking thing. Craziest thing. I do not get it. But I think it has something to do with the breeder that she was at and the treatment she had at that point. But we love her to death. She's ultra special to us. He just got himself smelling. Now he wanted you mean. Alf, no, fuck that. It was rancid. I was going to leave it if it was just a little bit, but it was all smeared along the side of his face. There's no fucking way. Could be some trauma she experienced prior owners. She does have, there's no doubt she has trauma. No doubt. She has nightmares all the time. She'll just be laying there and she'll start running. It's cute when you see it, but then you realize she's probably she's having a bad dream. She's trying to run away from a situation. That makes me sad, but she never really gets comfortable knowing and realizing she's in an environment where she never has to deal with that anymore, never has to have that trauma anymore. It's such a permanent thing. I guess since it was with her from, since she was, a young pup, that's just sort of ingrained in her. And it may never go away, but, we still love her. I'm thinking about getting a trucker pup soon. Just don't know if I want to go small dog or... Are you a trucker? If you're a trucker, BTK, I have... No. Fuck that. Well, all right. And you know what? Fuck it. If you're a trucker, let me know, because I have some questions for you. My mother has been trying to convince me to start truck driving. And I don't think it's a good fit. I don't think it's a good fit. No, I don't think it's a good fit. Especially over the road trucking. I don't think I'm cut out for that sort of stuff. For one thing, I can't back up anything. You are a trucker. Okay, cool. Here's a question for you. Do you do over-the-road trucking? If you do over-the-road trucking, then this question is very, very much about that. Because I've been watching videos about that sort of over-the-road trucking, things like that. And while the pay seems it seems great. It seems like you get paid really good money. But when you factor in the amount of time you're gone and the amount of time you have to spend in that truck versus being free, it doesn't seem to me like it really makes sense. You know, like if you're out for 2 to 3 weeks and then you're back a weekend and then you're out for another 2 to 3 weeks, that 2 to 3 weeks, I would consider it, as long as you're with the truck, you're on the job. You know, you don't get to just leave the fucking truck. You got to stay with it. So you're just basically always on, but there's segments of that time where you're not getting paid. So if you were to really technically count it as, for that entire 3 weeks, all the hours you worked, and then divide that versus the pay that you got paid, how does that really work out? Because in certain videos, people have done the math and they've said that it works out to like something insanely low, like less than $15 an hour. And I'm just like, that sounds fucking crazy. I mean, I'm sorry, but, and I deal with this too in my current situation with my wife, because her job, she's getting paid $23 an hour. Okay. But she also works more hours than me. I mean, right now she's working 40 hours, but she's also going to have to start working Fridays again because they have mandatory overtime at the plant that she's at most time. So she's going to end up putting in 48 hours a week. And when she starts putting in that additional 8 hours on Friday, she's going to be making way more money than me. Like a lot more money than me. But she's also hourly making less money than me. So it's like, I don't know. It's a weird sort of situation. I start looking at things in different perspectives, because although a salary of a six-figure salary sounds great, but when you think about the hours you have to put in to get that six-figure salary, it starts to sound a lot less appealing, at least to me. I hate being around people, so that 2 to 3 weeks is my favorite part of my life. I get to listen to all the books. Well, see, that's the other thing. My last check as a company driver was about $1,700 after tax for 7 days. After tax. Okay. That's pretty good. But, and that also is one of those things that I try to point out to my mom, that, you know, certain people who become truck drivers are they like that lifestyle. You know, they want to be out. They don't want to have like a legitimate place, you know, a residence. They don't want to be tied down to anything. They tend to like to be out and about and away and all of that. So, and they're more loner individual types. So to them, that's a golden opportunity. For someone like me, I like to be at home. I love being at home. Home is my favorite place to be. So going on the road doesn't sound like a fucking great opportunity for me, knowing how much I enjoy being at home. But I just wanted to know, because there's a myriad of other things. The backing up thing is the big thing. I cannot back up shit. I mean, I have a trailer, I have a camper, I have a trailer. I suck at backing both of those up, and that's just tiny little things. And that's just trying to back it up in my driveway. It takes fucking 20 minutes for me to back my camper up into the fucking driveway. To have to be on the clock and do that with a huge fucking semi and pull it between other semis, like trailers, and angle that shit in perfectly and line it up and it's like, fuck that. I couldn't do it. There's no fucking way. Then taking into consideration driving those fucking things through the city, through inclement weather, breakdowns, fucking having to shower at those cocksucking gas stations and shit. Oh God, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I personally hate driving, so I couldn't imagine being a truck driver, especially with the easy people. Easy people are assholes to truckers on the road. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like and everything I've heard is that like trucks nowadays are so insanely like hands off. I mean, not hands off in the sense of like you don't have to know anything, it drives itself. I mean, in like you don't have control over the truck like you would if it was your own rig, or if you were if it was like 30 years ago or 40 years ago. Nowadays, it's like everything's monitored, everything's, you know, kind of assessed, looked at, scrutinized. Speed is sometimes capped. And all the elements of like doing, you know, having to know more about what you're doing, know more about the vehicle, and feel like it's a part of you and you have control over it. It's kind of stripped away from you, seemingly. At least that's the way I feel. Like it's set up now to where any schmo who gets their CDL can waltz into the job and take off. You know, it's like, I don't know. When things start to go that way, you start to get a general decline in the quality of drivers and quality of employees overall. And that's bad for everything, you know, because it just means that an industry is starting to go under. And I know a lot about that. Backing up a trailer is tricky because it goes the opposite. Yeah, it goes the opposite direction, but it's like, it's too easy to oversteer it. I'm not good at like getting it dialed in to like little increments, and I always fucking oversteer it. If you count every hour of 7 days as work, that's like $10 an hour. Actual work, hours worked, it's like $24 an hour. Yeah. Yeah. But that's the way I look at it, because it's, if I'm not allowed to leave, if I'm forced to stay at some, you know, truck stop or at some fucking gas station and just hang out, then I'd rather be driving. Honestly, if it was left up to me and I can get done quicker with the, you know, get the haul done quicker, I'd just drive through the night. But I know you can't. I know they prevent you from doing that now. You know, they have regulations and things where you have to stop and you have to do this and blah, blah, blah. And I would be too tempted to just go right through, because I don't like the idea of just being told, now's your time to stop. Like, and then what am I supposed to do? You know, I can't relax in a foreign place, in a fucking foreign situation. You have to go through CDL school. I use my GI Bill to pay for it. Yeah. There's a place in near where I live. It's called Dot Foods, and it's just a giant warehouse where they fucking ship out all sorts of food products. And they employ their own drivers, and they send you to school, they train you, they pay you, they blah, 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 and they do all of that. My ex-stepsister's husband is a trainer for the place, and my mom's like, well, he could get you in. He could get you a job there. You'd be making good money after you get out, you know, done with training and you get on the road. Like, yeah, but I'm going to be gone so often. To clarify, I don't necessarily hate driving, but other drivers freak me out and make me nervous. Well, I don't mind. I understand that. I mean, because the longer you're out on the road, the more likely you're going to end up in a scenario where, you know, something's going to happen. The odds just increase statistically, but I never really have a problem with it. I'm actually pretty good at driving. When Sarai and I went out west, I was driving 14 hours a day. You know, it was like it. I didn't see it as much. It wasn't like a challenge or anything, but it was like, I don't know. I just felt like continuing to going. You know, but you know, it is different because it's like, oh, you're out west and you're seeing new things and blah, blah, blah. But if you're on the road trucking and you're always driving, then that changes. The feeling changes. Have to stay at truck stop for breaks, yes, but you can do 11 hours of driving in a 14-hour period. Half-hour break required within 8 hours of certain blah, blah regulations. I know the Dot Foods you're referring to. Yeah. Well, it'd be surprising if you didn't. If you're a truck driver, you've probably hauled from a distribution warehouse or whatever that's related to Dot Foods in some sort of capacity, or ship something to Dot Foods. It's literally just shit comes in, shit goes out. You know, they're an order processing facility. They handle bulk orders for major food distribution networks and major stores, and they also handle now they handle a lot of Amazon and small item orders, and they do that right out of the facility too. So that's probably where I'm going to end up working once I lose my job, because I have a bunch of friends who work there, and the starting pay isn't fucking great. It's $20 an hour. But and now I say that. Let me reiterate. I say $20 an hour. I say $20 an hour, and it may sound to someone who doesn't live in the state of Illinois like a lot of money, but our minimum wage here is $15 an hour. So you kind of get an idea. $20 an hour versus the minimum wage, it's not that great of a pay difference. The cold and frozen side, that's where the pay starts to increase. Like if I went to the frozen warehouse, I could make $27.50 an hour. But you're working in negative fucking 4 temperatures all goddamn day. So it's like, and they're 12-hour shifts. So that's the other thing. It's like, oh, geez. 3 12-hour, but that's one of the things about it. It's 3 12-hour shifts. 3 12-hour shifts, and then you have 4 days off. I'm like, wow, that sounds great. That's more home time. The company I work for is based out of Rockford. Oh, really? Are you in Illinois? That's crazy. Or maybe not, but the company is. I know another trucker that just does local deliveries, but I think he only is allowed to drive 11 hours before he has to stop because of the regulations. Yeah, there's all the regulations. I thought about trying to get on to drive for what's it called? FedEx, but I don't know. Reefer driving pays more than dry van driving. I'd imagine, because you got to take, there's a lot more that goes into those reefer trucks. Jesus Christ, you could lose the whole fucking thing, and there's a lot more responsibility. That's one of those things I was talking about earlier, where if I'm going to a job like that, I don't want to have the same responsibilities that I have at this job carry over to another job. I don't want to feel like I have to, that the weight of a bunch of stuff falls onto me. I just want to be mindless work. So the less responsibility, the better. I was born in Illinois, live in Tennessee. No state income tax in Tennessee. Yeah, that's sweet. I got kicked in the nuts this past tax season or tax period. We paid our taxes a couple of months ago, but I had to pay in $2,700 because, well, Soraya lost her job last year. She ended up cashing out her 401k to buy a vehicle so she could drive back and forth to Springfield, which is about 30 minutes away. And she didn't take out all the full 20% that the state was going to charge her for taking out her 401k. They only took out 10%, withheld 10%. So we had to pay the other 10% plus that 10% that we didn't pay ended up putting us into a higher tax bracket. So we ended up having to pay another $700 on top of that because of the 33% tax bracket that we got kicked up to. Fun all around. I think all companies are different. Some provide a truck and some you have to have your own. Yeah, you're finding less and less of that though. I know in a lot of companies, like company trucks, you can't. I noticed that when BTK said something like you can't. I don't think company trucks allow you to bring like pets. Maybe some do, maybe some don't. Everything I've heard is like you have to own your own truck in order to have the flexibility to have a pet that you can take with you. Believe you me, if I could go to DOT and work for them and drive a truck and take one of my dogs, I might be a little persuaded to do it because that would be different. To a degree. Dogs are only so, their company is only so fitting. No state income tax in Florida either. Well, look at you two. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, but you guys, don't you have like, because I know Missouri doesn't have, I don't think they have state tax, but they have, they have a tax on things you own. Like, I forget what it's called, but like if you have to pay taxes on your, I don't know. It's like your property, not property. God, what is it? It's like your possessions. Something like you're taxed on the things that you buy. Like you're taxed on the cost of your vehicle, and you're taxed on the cost of these other things that you have. And it's like, it's weird. It's weird in Missouri. I don't know. Many companies let you have a pet. Might have to pay 20 or 40 bucks a month for pet policy. Yeah, I don't know. Personal property tax. That's what it is. They have tax. I didn't think they had state tax. Well, that would suck. If they have state tax and personal property tax, then they can go fuck themselves. Although I will say that property tax there is insanely cheap by comparison to what I'm paying in Illinois. Property tax is ridiculous. What, in Florida? Homeowners insurance in Florida, I would understand with all the fucking hurricanes and shit. Property tax in Illinois is out fucking rageous. It's so well known how fucking terrible property tax is in Illinois. I think we pay the highest property tax in the entire fucking nation. If not, we're like second. It's fucking stupid. And I'm not talking about Chicago. I'm talking about downstate, where it makes fucking no sense to pay this high property tax. Raised in Missouri, still got my dad's property. Nice. Soraya and I thought about moving to Missouri if we lost our jobs and decided to move away. Unfortunately, we both didn't lose our jobs at the same time, so now she's got a fucking good paying job. So we're kind of still stuck here after I lose mine, because I was about ready to sell this fucking house and just get the hell out. Fuck Illinois. Pensacola's calling me. I do not know why. You know why I want to move to Pensacola? I'll tell you why. It's the dumbest reason. 2 reasons. Back when I was drinking, I used to get on something called Justin TV. It became Twitch, but back then it was called Justin TV. And I used to watch a live stream every weekend of it was just of some karaoke bar in Pensacola. And I would just watch that live stream every fucking weekend. And I'd just be like, man, this is great. I'd just drink to it and watch it, and it took my mind off of a lot of shit, and I just really enjoyed it. I always thought, man, what a cool fucking vibe. What a cool place, you know? And then I discovered Phil Thomas Cat and the Uncharted Zone. And I was like, oh yeah. And that motherfucker's out of everything he covers, and everything that he talks about, and his entire life is all Gulf Coast shit and Pensacola. And it's just so fantastic. I fucking love it. And I was like, man, I want to be in that. I want to be a part of that, because it's just so quaint, and it's so retro in a way. And it might not be that way across the board, but where he was, like, man, it's just got this kitschy quaintness to it that I just feel like I could really dig. Taxes will fuck you. Yes. No argument there. Unless they raise my military disability to 100% from 80, I'm not buying property in Illinois. I wouldn't buy property in Illinois either. I mean, what's the fucking point? They'll tax you to goddamn death. They'll tax you based on based on the school district. I think that's what it ultimately comes down to. If you have the misfortune of living in a high-profile school district, then you're going to be paying top fucking dollar in taxes, property taxes. I've never been to Pensacola, but it seems nice. Most places in Florida are. I would avoid Orlando, Miami, and Tampa, though. I used to live in Orlando. What's wrong with Orlando? Of course, let me reiterate, that was 1996 when I lived in Orlando, so it could be a completely different city now. But it wasn't too bad back then. It had a quaintness to it. A lot of bums. No property tax is 100% disabled vet. Wow, really? Damn, I didn't know that. How disabled? Well, yeah, 100% disabled. Yeah, but if you're 100% disabled, Jesus Christ, can you even hold a job? Well, I imagine you can as a truck driver. I don't know what the logistics of that are. A friend of mine, I don't know if he qualifies as disabled or not. I know he got injured over in Afghanistan, and it pretty much ended his career. It didn't end. Let me reiterate. It didn't end his career. He ended his own career during COVID when they were trying to force the vaccine on him, and he left. But he was a crew chief on a Chinook, and apparently got into some shit and fucking got injured really bad. Spent several months in some German hospital, and then finally rotated back to the States. And he said his body was not, he was not going to be able to do certain things anymore with how bad he got fucked up. So I don't know he never really said where he falls in that, but I don't know. I never really asked him. That's one of those things where I just didn't feel comfortable asking. I don't know how open other people are about talking about their situations. You know, not everybody's like me. Orlando is basically Disney, low and high crime rates. High crime rates? That's weird. Oh, all right. Okay. Higher than what? I mean, when I lived there, it was a culture shock for me because I'm coming from like cornfield to nothing. I'm moving to Orlando. The very first night we were there, I heard automatic gunfire. So I'm like, oh, this is crazy. And then the Winn-Dixie that we got our groceries from had a pretty serious problem with abduction, like women getting abducted out of the parking lot of the place. So it was quite a radical shift from what I was, used to. But we never really faced it. We never really experienced it. Granted, I was only there for a year, but never really experienced it. You know, it was all, you could feel it around. You watch the news and shit was going on. I'd hear people talk, like people would come to school. They'd be like, oh yeah, somebody came into the fucking Publix over in Tampa and shot the fucking place up. It was like some disgruntled guy who's trying to kill his ex, who was an employee there. Guy came in with a gun and just started shooting. I'm like, really? That's interesting. You know, and I'm fucking 19-year-old John Plunkett from the fucking cornfields of Illinois coming in like, wow, hey, awesome. But I never really saw it for myself, you know. And that's one of those things where I reflect back on Florida with a very weird and positive light, because to me it's like, I remember it back then, and it's not going to be the same Florida, you know. It's really not. Live in a city that's like 5K people on the West Coast. We have crime, obviously, but nothing crazy usual. Well, yeah, 5,000 people. I'd imagine not. I don't even really know. Like, the whole time I was there, we spent all of our time. There was really no reason to ever leave the Orlando metro area. We went over to like, we went over to Cocoa Beach a couple of times, Daytona, but that's about as far as we went. We may have went up to, what's the name of the fucking town? UCF. No, UCF was Orlando, wasn't it? Was it FSU? I think maybe it was Florida State. I can't remember. It was up north of Orlando. I remember that much. Some college town. Can't remember which college it was. I think UCF was in Orlando, or in a area near Orlando. But it was whatever that town was, where FSU I think is where we ventured to once to go to a concert. But I never went further south. I never went down to Fort Lauderdale or Miami. We didn't really have a lot of money when we were down there, so, and we were driving around in a 1982 fucking Caprice Classic, and we didn't really want to put a whole hell of a lot of miles on it. Did you ever go to the Kennedy Space Center? It's pretty cool. No, I didn't. Honest, truth be told, we did very little. I was saying I'm kid from the cornfield out in Orlando experiencing things. I almost literally, if I wasn't at school, I was in my apartment. I really didn't leave and go out and do much. I went to Taco Bell and then I came home. I was a very nervous guy. I didn't really feel comfortable kind of exploring and taking chances. Not to mention I'm 19, so I can't get into bars and just hang out and whatever. So it's like my options are kind of limited. Jacksonville. No, it wasn't that far north. It was, I wish I could remember the name of the fucking town. It's not too far north from Orlando. It was probably only about a half an hour to 45 minutes north. But I can't, it's somewhere. It's inconsequential. But I'm just using that as a scope of how far we actually traveled out and did stuff. I mean, it wasn't really, Sarai told me that we actually went downtown Orlando once. I'm like, are you sure? I thought we only drove past downtown. We never really went into downtown. We used to go to Kissimmee all the time. No, we went to Daytona Beach. I went to Daytona Beach a couple of times. We only went to Daytona Beach when my friends came down to visit, because honestly, we never. FSU is in Tallahassee. Okay, so it's not FSU. It's something else. Maybe it is UCF. Fuck, I can't remember. Yeah, we never went to the beach. I guess my friend and I, he came down in like January, and we went to Daytona, and it's cold. It's like fucking 40 degrees. Nobody's out there. We went out there and hung out on the dock, and there was all these jellyfish out in the ocean, just kind of fucking just chilling in the cold water. That was a sight to see. But then my other friends came down in the summer, and they all wanted to go to Daytona, so we drove over there, checked it out. Didn't really go to the beach. Just drove around, hung out. Cocoa Beach we went to a couple of times. But yeah, we honestly, Soraya worked a lot, and I went to school, and then we did very little after that. We didn't really sightsee. We didn't really go. I mean, we didn't do much of anything. I did miss it, though. You have to understand, 1996, it was a weird time, because like this was before nu metal. I mean, this was right at the cusp of nu metal when it was kicking off. Like Korn literally just released their debut album. So there was this big thing that was happening in rock and metal at the time, but rock was also like Seven Mary 3 had just broke big, and this is even before Matchbox 20. So Florida, everyone in Florida at that time was like talking about, oh, Florida's going to be the next Seattle, man. Things are going to be fucking, oh yeah, Florida, all these artists are going to get picked up, and they're making this big fuss about all that shit. And I was just like listening to the radio all the time, hearing all these fucking bands, Four Squirrels and Big White Undies and all these shitty fucking Florida bands. And it was just quaint. It was interesting. Daytona is okay. The last time I was there, they let people drive on the beach, so that was off-putting. The last time I went to Daytona, we got off the strip a couple blocks over and ended up in like the ghetto, but it was a weird ass ghetto. I'm not used to Florida ghettos, so it's like, this is fucking bizarre. Never forget that. Full Sail University. Yes, that's where I went to school. I do not recommend it. I live by the only place in America you can swim with manatees. Wow, that's pretty cool. I think we like. Here's the funny part. I lived in Orlando, Florida for a year, and I never went to Disney World. Not once. My wife and I drove there and turned around in their at the exit. We went down to the gate and then turned around. That is our Disney World experience. On the other hand, Universal Studios, I became intimately familiar with because we had business seminar sessions in one of their sound stages. So I spent like at least a month at Universal Studios fucking going there and attending these things. So yeah, we went there a lot. 5 foot deep water you can see to the bottom of. Sounds nice. Disney is overrated and overpriced. I've heard that. See, I feel bad that I didn't take Soraya when we were there. I mean, I think she's been. I don't know if she has or not. Now that I think about it, wow. That's kind of depressing. See, I've been to I went to Disneyland when I was a young child. Disneyland in California. Twice. But I've never been to Disney World. And I lived in Orlando for a year. I don't know if Soraya's ever been there. And I feel shitty now because if we lived there for a year and I never took her to Disney, not like it's that big of a fucking deal. I mean, it's just Disney. I mean, when you're that old, you're not going to get anything out of it. Like if I were to say, let's go to Disney now, we're fucking 48. The hell are we going to do? We don't have kids. We don't have grandkids, kids, or anything. We have dogs. We're not going to go to fucking Disney and have a good time. You know, it's not set up for us. We have our own fun. Disney's fucking sucks anyway. I got over that shit when I was like 12. Besides, Disneyland's way better than Disney World, I assume. Does she really want to go though? I don't know if she really does. I don't think she does. I don't know if she did. I think she did, but I just didn't ever get around to it. I figured Universal Studios was a good alternative. I don't know. She got to see Tom Selleck once. I mean, for what that's worth. He was filming a commercial while we were there. I got to meet Jeff Skunk Baxter and Bruce Swedien. Do you know who Bruce Swedien is? I got to meet him. It's like all these names of people who don't matter. Like Bruce Swedien was the engineer for Quincy Jones. You'd have to, for like of a certain age, you'd have to know who Quincy Jones even is. If you were born in, the new millennium, I'm speaking to no one at this point. That then to say the name Bruce Swedien, I might as well be speaking a foreign language. Let alone Jeff Skunk Baxter. Who the fuck knows who he is? We went once when kids were young. They enjoyed it. I mean, yeah, when I was a kid, I loved Disney. I thought it was great. But by the second time I went, and I was like preteen in that realm, it faded pretty quick. It was just a little too kiddie. I was like, even at 12, I was just like, I'm over this. I enjoyed SeaWorld more the second time. Soraya and I went out west and we went to the Grand Canyon. And that, I was much happier taking her there than I would have ever been taking her to Disney, because the Grand Canyon is just so much more magical to me and to her. She enjoyed the shit out of it. I would love to go back out west, spend a little bit more time out there and do more, but with these fucking gas prices, Jesus Christ. I don't know. You know what I was going to do tonight? I was going to watch a movie. Here's the funny thing. I was going to lead off by talking about how people try to sell artists on the concept of getting into the industry and learning the trade, and buy our book, get into our seminar, do all this fucking shit, and you too can get into the industry and make thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars doing what you love and doing what you've always dreamed. Selling the dream. And I get so fucking tired of that concept of selling the dream that I just wanted to rant about it, but instead I just talked about my fucking personal shit. But I was also going to play the movie I was talking about. I don't know if I mentioned this back when I was watching indie movies on the channel, and I was just kind of cycling through what I could find on YouTube. I kept talking about this movie that was made by this local director named Ash Hamilton, and everyone was talking about it and all this fucking shit and blah 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 blah. It started out as a movie called Fucked, and then it became Effed, and now it finally landed on Final Days, and I finally got to watch it, and oh man, is it everything I hoped it would be? I was going to watch it tonight on stream, but I can't now because my wife is going to be home in 20 minutes, and I don't want to be doing this shit when she's off work. When she gets home, I want to comfort her. She's having a hard time transitioning into this supervisor role, and I'm trying to be there for her. Which I also have to ask her, what the fuck happened last night? I should probably mention this too. She fucking literally, like, she grabbed my arm, middle of like 1:30 in the morning. I wake up to her grabbing my fucking arm, and then she launches out of bed, fucking screaming no. Top of her lungs. No! I'm like, what the fuck? And then she's like, John, and she's reaching and grabbing my arm and calling my name. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? The dogs are freaking the fuck out. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? She gets up, and then she's just in a fucking panic. And then she starts pacing around. She says, well, I'm having a Charlie horse. I'm having a Charlie horse. I'm like, okay, well, walk it off. And I'm just watching her pace. And then she just keeps saying, I'm sorry. I'm like, and I keep thinking, I'm like, is she asleep? Like, something's weird. Like, she's not, because she wasn't talking directly to me. And I kept saying, like, I forgot what I was even saying. Oh, she was like, I was like, drink some water. Where's your bottle of water? It's in the living room. Well, go get it. Like, I don't want to go in the living room. And then she just kept pacing back and forth. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then she finally gets back into bed, and she's like, I'm sorry. And then out she goes. I was like, what the fuck was that? So the dogs are still fucking, and Jessie starts fucking barking like, and she's like, I don't know, she wants to go out. So I take her out. She goes to the bathroom, come back in, and then I'm laying there. I'm trying to get back to sleep, and then I just hear, and I'm like, it's Soraya. I hear it's coming from right next to me. I'm like, it's like, is she crying? And I realized she's having a nightmare. So I grab her arm. I don't grab it hard. I just like kind of put my hand on it, and then she just kind of jerks a little bit, and then I don't hear anything else. I had to get her out of that whole thing. I don't know what the fuck she was dreaming, but holy shit, that fucking freaked me out last night. Holy God. I thought something fucking like, I don't know. I thought something fucking happened. I thought she like was having a fucking heart attack or something. I don't know. Crazy shit. I got to ask her about that when she gets home, because it was fucking nuts. Lucid dreaming or something. Yeah, it was fucking nuts. Does she remember that happening? I don't know. I haven't talked to her since. I have to go into work before she gets up. I'm usually out the door by like 7 in the morning. I mean, this morning I left a little late because I didn't have to really do anything until 10. But usually we don't get to talk to one another in the morning. I'm out the door, and then she gets up about a couple of hours later. We only get to really throughout the week, and I hate this fucking schedule of hers. It sucks, but it is what it is. We only get to really see each other for a couple of hours a night throughout the week, and it is what it is. Got to make that money. Got to do what you got to do. So if there was another way, there was another way. But that's also part of the whole, figuring out what's going on. Because my situation, like I started off this whole thing saying, yeah, I'm losing my job. This is what was told to me in January. Like, they're shutting the department down June 30th. The president of the company does not see any change or blah, blah, blah. He doesn't see how any of this is going to work. This is back in January. But everyone just keeps telling me, no, it's not the case. He's on board with everything that's going on, and we're trying to work in the blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't know why this is happening. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why, of all the people who could be let go, why I'm being let go, because I have a lot more knowledge and experience and all these things that I bring to the table. When they get rid of me, they're losing a lot of experience. They're losing a lot of shit that they don't know they're losing, and they won't know it until after I'm gone. But I just got to let it ride. I got to play it out, because you have to understand, it's just a bunch of fucking farmers. It's just a bunch of farmers who don't know what they're doing, and they've let it ride for so long. And it's all catching up to everyone simultaneously. And I don't think anyone on that board is happy with the decisions they're going to have to start making. But the financials aren't as bad as I thought they were from what I was being told. So everything's kind of like, well, maybe it's not as cut and dried as it was before. I'm working for a new person now. I have a new boss, quote unquote, and my pay is now being, like, my former boss's pay is completely taken out of the advertising department in total. Mine is now being like chopped considerably away from that and put into marketing. So the money that comes in, the revenue that advertising generates, may actually start to go into the black based on that alone, and the work that continues to come in. So I think what the COO of the company was trying to figure out and determine was to make all these changes, to get things pushed around and see what we could do to bring in whatever we can. And then maybe the president of the company will be appeased enough to say, okay, and then at least buy some time to be able to expand the conversation. I don't fucking know. He's on his goddamn way out anyway, the COO. I don't fucking know. So it is what it is. Sounds like they just don't want to pay your hourly wage. Well, there's other people who they're trying to find a job for, because there's a lot of change that's coming down the pipe. This is an industry-wide thing. This is a whole changeover. It's not just what I do. A lot of things are changing, and a lot of people are going to be out of a job once we do this major changeover, which is essentially we're converting our entire cable system over to IPTV. Once that's done, the RF side of our entire operation ends. So the head end manager who only deals with the RF side now doesn't have anything to do. Anyone who did provisioning of cable boxes and everything on the RF side, gone. They have no job to do anymore. The IPTV side of things pretty much runs itself. I mean, it's like, it's very hands off. So I think they realize that. They realize they're going to have a lot less techs. We're not going to be building out our fiber infrastructure anymore because that job will be complete too. So construction people are going to go. Technicians are going to go. Installers are going to go. The people who provision the boxes are going to go. RF people are going to go. I mean, just down the line. I mean, if we can't figure out something, or something doesn't come along that's going to give somebody something to do, things got to scale back. And I think I'm in the mix with that. I'm part of the unfortunate group of people who just don't have a place. But even though they're going to continue doing advertising, they're still going to be doing ad revenue, generating that, and they're still going to need someone to be able to basically maintain and monitor that whole system. I think my viability with the company is far exceeds the people who provision the set-top boxes and things like that. I mean, but who am I to say? I'm the guy fighting for my own job. Of course I'm going to say that. But even from a pragmatic standpoint, it's like they don't realize no one's going to be able to walk into my job, my position and do it. And when I leave, that hole that's going to be there is going to become a massive black hole. And they don't realize it until I'm gone. But by then it's too late. I'll have moved on. So hopefully things can change and they'll figure it out. We can have a conversation when that time comes. I don't know. It's a very awkward and very weird situation. I mean, at this point, with Soraya making the money she's making as a supervisor, if they even wanted to negotiate cutting my pay, I would be open to that. I would be willing to discuss that and negotiate that, because I don't need to make what I'm making now. So if it means that I can keep my job and it means I can stay to retirement and I don't have to pull my pension out and I don't have to pull my 401k out, then yeah, I'm willing to negotiate and talk. Let's do it. But we're not to that point yet. You think they will rely on AI or something like that? No. Like I said, these guys are farmers. They know fuck all about AI. They have no fucking concept. AI is not even all that great yet anyway. It's going to be at least 5 to 10 years before AI can actually knock out actual jobs. There's too many times where it's going to put 6 fingers on a hand or fucking convert someone's hair into like a fucking macaroni pasta. It's too unpredictable at this point to be legitimately relied on. Nobody's going to want to pay money for a computer to make decisions for them and spit out whatever it wants. So it's like, until people get exactly what they want, that shit's going to be, it's just going to be a curiosity that's going to continue to advance and develop. It will one day, but not for at least 5 years, I'd imagine. What if they crawl back to you and ask for you to return after they let you go? It'll be too late by that point, because I'll have already cashed out my 401k and my pension. And once it's gone and it's in my house, because I'm going to basically refinance my house with the pension money, pour it into that, and lock it in. There is no reason I'll go back to that place. No fucking reason whatsoever. The stress is too great. And I'm literally, the only reason I'm still here is for that fucking pension. That's the only reason I stayed. So when that goes away, you couldn't convince me to stay and work for these fucking farmers. There's no fucking way. It's too much. They put too much expectation on people because they don't know and they expect you to know. But you don't know. You got to learn. But then they expect it all to be on you. I don't know. I made $6,000 this week after expenses, $2,800 take home. Man, that's pretty nice. Take home $2,800 for 1 week. Damn. That's way more than I make. That's way more. I'm not really big on. I'm not big on making money. I don't care about how much money I make. I just want to be able to exist. I want things to stay the way they've been. I've been happy with where we have landed. Our house is nice. The neighborhood's nice. The taxes aren't, but you take the good with the bad. We have a nice vehicle. We have our kayaks. We get to go hiking. We get to enjoy our life. It's just it's all been so easy for so long, and it was all on autopilot. And once things started to change, once Soraya lost her job, and once it came down to the pipe that I might lose my job, things really started to get stressful around here, and the change hasn't been as fluid and easy as I was hoping it would be, for her, Soraya at least. And it's probably going to be just as difficult for me when I have to do it. But ultimately, like I've told her, I don't give a shit if we're making huge amounts of money. As long as we can keep the house, and as long as we can pay our bills, and we can have a little bit of extra money left over, fuck it. We can work at jobs where we only have to make that much, and I'll be happy. So the thing that I'm trying to do now is basically get our bill situation as low as it can possibly go. Lock that in, and then get to. She has her job where she's making like 75. I have mine, which is like 62, 63. And if I keep that, then I keep it. If I lose it, I lose it. But when I lose it, and then we we pay off what we need to pay off, restructure our situation, and then go from there, I'll have everything locked in, and I'll know what we can afford, what we can't, and what we'll have to make. And that will give both of us the flexibility we need to lock in on what we want to do. And she may not have to stay at that job making that kind of money. And I may not have to work at a place like Dot. I could go try different things, have more freedom and flexibility. I thought about trying to find a job where I became an apprentice electrician, and go that route. Just because I thought it would be more dynamic and it would be more something that I'd be interested in. But I can't just go out and do that willy-nilly. I have to make sure our bills are paid. So until I'm certain that we can do that, those kind of plans have to fall to the wayside. Also paid $3,200 for services on the truck 2 weeks ago, and $800 a week before that. Money. $3,200 for services on the truck. So it's your truck? I take it's your truck. You own the truck. Because why else would you pay for anything on the truck? I mean, but that's how now I could understand why you're making the money you're making if you own your own truck, because you're setting your own, I don't know if you charge per mile or if you charge per job, or per load or whatever, but you get the flexibility, I'd imagine, of negotiating your own rates. So, yep. I assumed. That's good. I mean, that's a great deal. I just don't. It's not the kind of lifestyle I really think I could wrap my head around, I like jobs. I like to have like little jobs that I can do and complete, and that aren't just like so small that they're infantile or infinitesimal, like non-jobs, like working on a factory line or shit like that, where your job is literally just repeating the same 15-second cycle every day. I mean, like something where I have a task to perform and I do it. It takes me a day, it takes me 2 days, maybe it takes half a day, but something of that line. That's the things that I enjoy. Okay, just quit your jobs and become a husband, wife, or their own trucking team. No. See, because that basically takes both of our. Why does that do that? Am I back? Is it back? I think it's back. It's the 204 curse, man. I don't get it. 2 hours and 4 minutes, and it always fucking drops out and then reconnects. But going back to what I was saying, you'd both be making 120K plus a year. Well, oh, you mean both of us drive? No, she couldn't do it. There's no fucking way. She could not do it. I thought you meant like we both are in the truck together. Like, or I don't know. But like I was saying, my mom lives with me. So, I mean, I guess you could make the argument I could keep the house. She could stay here. We could go out on the road. But we also have our dogs. And you have to understand that one of my potential plans was to sell this house at the end of the year, take out all of our money, put it into an account, and then go hiking. 2026, basically just spend the year fucking hiking and just try a different gig, a different thing, you know? Be like, fuck it. You know, we're going to experience life while we still have a life to experience. And that all came to an end, that whole train of thought, when Sarai's like, well, what do we do with the dogs? Because Jessie, our female Aussie, cannot hike that long or over long distances like that. She just doesn't have the energy. She doesn't have the endurance to do it. And we wouldn't want to torture her that way. So I'm like, well, we could have somebody watch them. Like, it never works out. I mean, we would have to literally give them up for adoption, and she's like, no, we're not doing that. I'm not letting go of Jessie. I'm like, okay. But my mom's been really stressed, thinking about all of this, possibly having to, find a new place to live. And I'm just like, you don't have to worry about finding another place. We're not selling the house. We're not changing up our situation. And that all has to do with, more and more has to do with the fact that, we want to stay in the house. Dogs can go with you, truck. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It sounds like a good plan, except for Soraya will not do it. Soraya wouldn't, because for her to be part of this team, she's going to also have to do part of the work, and she can't drive. Believe me, she can't do it. She cannot do it. You think I'm on here admitting that I suck at backing up a trailer and backing up shit like that. She can't do it at all. She won't even fucking try. So yeah, that ain't gonna fucking happen. She wouldn't pass her CDL, I don't think. It'd be too much stress. We would probably end up in a divorce after the first fucking year because of the stress of her having to do the job and me having to listen to her bitch and complain over her anxiety and her inability to have any sort of faith in her own abilities to do anything. And I don't want to go down that road. Things will be fine. Things will be fine. Like I said, we don't have to make huge amounts of money. We just have to keep this house. We're fucking almost 50. I mean, we're coming to the end of this whole experiment, really. Not life, but the working experiment. And if I can keep the house, because once I refinance the house, we'll be virtually almost paid up. We'll only owe like $30,000 on the fucking house, and then it's done. It's paid for. And all that money just sits in the house. you know. And the good thing is, at least I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but at least in Illinois, I can sell the house and get all my money out, and I don't have to claim it as taxable income. You know, I don't have to pay additional taxes on the house, on the money I get out of my house. So that's fucking sweet. So ultimately, it's just parked here for as long as we want to be here. If we decide 5 years down the road, yeah, we're going to go out and do all this shit that we talked about, sell the house, get our money out, same, it's always going to be there, I guess is the point. It'll always be there. And if I end up having to go to a place like Dot and work in the warehouse and whatnot, it'll be an interesting experiment. It'll be a weird change of my life, but maybe not for the worst, you know. Like I got to be honest, like the last couple of years of my job here working for the company that I work for, I've been kind of miserable. You know, it's been the same shit every day. The stress kind of anxiety kind of gets to me from time to time. I don't know why. It's something about the job itself. But it's like, I just feel like I'm kind of over it and I want a new experience. And this is back when I was like, it really hit me when I got up to like 400 pounds. I'm like, God, I'm just fucking wasting away and dying here, you know, dying a slow fucking death in this lazy existence of doing hardly anything. Like I got to break free. I got to be more. I got to be more. I got to do more. And I thought if I was in a job where I actually had more physicality, that I would just naturally be able to keep myself in a better physical state and feel better about myself all the time. And that's what I kind of saw this as. 12 hours a day sounds terrible. I'm not going to lie. 12 hours a day sounds fucking god awful. But 3 days a week, I mean, I could dig that. I think I could get around that because the 4 days off, I'll be like, especially in the summer, like I'll be like, all right, well, time to have my 4-day weekend. The first fucking thing I do is load that kayak up on the fucking Jeep and go out to the goddamn lake and just paddle my ass around the fucking lake. Take the dogs out for a walk in the country, go hiking when Soraya is off, and just enjoy the outdoors like I enjoy doing, and have 4 days a week to do it. Those 3 days a week, they are what they are at that point, you know. But I would value the days off more considerably than I would working at a job like 5 8-hour days and then only having 2 days off. I've done that. I've done that for a long time, and I think I would appreciate having more days off than not. But you know, they have different shifts. I could work 4 10s instead of 3 12s, so there's a little bit of flexibility, you know, based on what you want to do. Do the dogs go in the kayak? I got Luther in once, and boy, he did not like it. He was I have a sit-in kayak, so there wasn't a hell of a lot of room for him, especially, you know, back then, because I was like, I think when I took him out, I was like 330 or something like that. So there wasn't a hell of a lot of room in there, and he's a big dog. He's like 65 pounds, but he was not digging it. He was not digging it at all. So I don't think it's going to work. Jessie will not. No, she wouldn't go anywhere near an open body of water like that. So that's something that we just enjoy, you know, on the side. We take the dogs hiking, but that's the extent of what we can do with the dogs. We can't go on super long hikes either because Jessie can't hack it. But the kayaking thing is just something for us. People around here always have their dogs out on the springs. Dogs out on the springs. I mean, you have a dog that's comfortable with water. That's great. But our dogs just, they don't dig it for some reason. I don't know. I wish it was different, but it's not. Just like I wish that we could take them hiking on the AT with us, because next week is going to be difficult for me because I really don't want to leave Luther and Jessie behind. But I don't have a choice. That's the way it's got to be. And I'm going to miss them terribly the entire time. I'm going to miss them horribly. And that's just the way it's got to be because we're committed now. We can't get out of this thing. It was a lot different when Soraya worked at her old job. She could shift around the weeks that she took off, but here it's not the same. She had to lock it in, and she has to go. And that's just the way it is. Natural springs in Florida? I mean, I'm not saying there's not. But interesting. There's an area over by Champaign, Illinois, where we hiked. Actually, it's called Fox Ridge State Park. There is a river that runs by there that we realized when we were doing the trail. And Three Sister Springs. I will look it up. There's a river that ran by the trail system that we did, and I was like, oh, we got to come back and do this. We got to come back and bring our kayaks and do this. Her sister and her husband live over there, and we were thinking about seeing if they would go out with us, if they could rent kayaks or get something or whatever, but I don't know. Pulling shit like that together is always fucking difficult, and they just had a baby, so it's hard to get people with newborns to do anything, really. Are the dogs old? Jesse's 6 now, I think, and Luther's 4. So they're not really old. Jesse's probably middle-aged, if you will. But she acts old. I mean, she can run and she could go, but she's not as spry as Luther. Luther's rambunctious as hell. But yeah, we do the best. I think I hear the dogs barking, so I'm pretty sure Soraya's home. So I'm going to cash out here. And I may get back on here tomorrow night and watch that fucking movie on stream. I really wanted to do that, and I regret not doing it. But I feel like I got on a topic, well, talking to you, that, just let it roll, let it go. And I had fun. She just had a rough time having so many pups, probably. So I'm gonna get off here. I appreciate you for checking out the stream, you and BTK. Hope you enjoyed yourselves, and I will be back tomorrow because I really want to watch this movie. So if you're still if you're interested in that, stop back by tomorrow night. Probably about the same time too. About 5 or 6, get it in before Soraya gets home. So later. Oh, look at that. I was getting ready to do that. I went the wrong way. So later.